So it now gives me great pleasure to introduce you to the BPA Chair, Dr. Max Kennedy. Max has chaired the board for the last 18 months and is a constant presence of sound, calm wisdom for me, including today. Everything will be fine, which is just what I needed to hear. Max is also responsible for the fact that we have a symposium at all, which I think I thank him for. But thanks, Max. Over to you.
Ko Max aho, ko kaukau te manga, ko te whanganui atara, te awa, ko Kennedy te iwi, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. I'm the chair of the BPA and it's a great pleasure to welcome you here all today. And what I'm going to do is just give you a brief overview of the BPA so that we're all on the same page today for the conference. So if we first start with what do we do, why does the BPA exist? We support businesses creating value from New Zealand from underutilised biological resources. That's the official way to put it. But if you like to think in simple terms, we're the bridge between science and the industry. And one of the few parts of the science system that exists in that what I would call an unstable equilibrium between the science push and the industry pull, and actually drawing that IP, the brilliant ideas that the New Zealand science system has, and pushing those through into commercialisation and helping the companies grow export dollars. I like to think of the BPA as a win-win-win situation. It's a win for industry and the economy because they're doing products that are going to grow the economy. It's a win for the science community because they're interfacing with industry, they're learning how to talk the language of industry, they're learning more about marketplaces, what is important for industry, and so they're upskilling at that science-industry interface. And the third win is it's a win for the environment because we're diverting stuff from waste and landfill, we're helping a more circular economy in New Zealand. So I think from those point of views, there's a real good wins from the BPA. Right, let's talk a little bit about our history, how we came into being, and we were established in 2012, so we've been going for quite some time now, somewhat under the radar, but we a collaboration between the old Crown Research Institutes, Callaghan, Scion, Ag Research, Plant and Food, and New Zealand universities. And our mission is to develop these high-value products. Now, I must say that a lot of the credit goes to the government, thank you, Minister, but we get $2 million a year to invest, and that's really the horsepower that enables us to do all this stuff. So we're very thankful that the government has supported us over this long period of time, which has helped us develop some really good impact. We've supported hundreds of projects over that time period. And if we look at the impacts, we've led to job creation, new export and domestic revenue, growth of existing businesses, and businesses, particularly startups, often find it tough in that scale up and expansion mode. So the BPA has been instrumental in growing a number of these businesses. We've just given them the helping hand to get them through to the next stage. We've had a large number of PhDs and students, masters and summer interns, and I must admit I really like the summer intern aspect of what we do because it puts the students out into industry, and that has career-long benefits for them, so that's really good, and diversion of waste from landfill. I'd also like to give a bit of a plug for our impact report, which is on your tables. Have a look in there. Some of the numbers on our statistics are really worthwhile seeing, and you can see what projects we've done, and I'll go into a few of those. Just as a rough estimate, I think we would have generated hundreds of millions for the economy and exports over the time period of our life since 2012. Something else that's often not appreciated is that getting value out of your co-products is really key to stability of the primary sector. And so another one of the ways that we contribute is by being the support for the primary sector to be more productive, to be more profitable, and also to be more acceptable to their marketplace. Because the marketplace is driving the primary sector to be more conscious of their carbon footprints, their the bioeconomy, the circular economy, and proving that to their marketplaces. So I think that pressure is going to grow and grow. And so this is one of the ways that, or one of the flow-on effects from having the BPA out there. Who are we? Who are the people involved? We have a board and we have a science leadership group. And I'd just like them to stand up for a moment so that you can see who the board members are and who the science leadership team are. So if you've got a question or you want to hound someone about a project that you've got, and we would encourage industry to do that, you can tackle some of these people here during the break to get the good oil. And I'll get you, Nikki, you've seen Nikki on stage, but if you could just stand up, Nikki. Nikki is our general manager, and so all the projects go through her, so if you want to have a chat with her at any point, go for your life. Okay, so what I'd like to do is just highlight a few of our case studies to show you the BPA in action, and we've chosen a few here: Miti, Eco Gas, New Zealand King Salmon, Cetogenics, and New Zealand Extracts. So if we look at Eco Gas, they were the first commercial scale anaerobic digestion bioenergy plant, and their plant is located at Reparoa, and they're doing some great things. So what they start with is organic waste, which is green waste, or now they're going for food. I think they're looking at collecting food waste from the Rotorua area, and they turn that into energy and fertiliser via anaerobic digestion. The methane gas goes into the gas pipeline, and the fertiliser goes out to the primary sector. So really, the story of where the BPA interacted here was a lot on scale-up. And I think most of the things that industry, particularly if you're not an engineer, has trouble grasping is that scale-up involves a heck of a lot of science and a heck of a lot of development and solving these issues, because the underlying issue of scale-up is you can't keep everything the same in the small scale as in the large scale. So things have to change, and that changes your process. So how do you get around that when you scale up? So the BPA was there to take them to the pilot scale and really prove the technology and solve some of those scale-up issues. Next was New Zealand King Salmon, and they got a whole new product range out of what for them had been a waste product. So they were taking unused salmon, and think of sort of some of the waste bits of salmon, the skeletons, the heads, all of that sort of stuff that comes out of processing, and they've turned it into high-value pet treats, which is selling it at a very large margin. And what they highlighted was that their market, they had this philosophy of using the whole organism, using the entirety of the salmon. And so this really helped them close their circle, and on top of that they came out with a very profitable product that was targeting a higher value market. Because one of the things in New Zealand is that it's very tempting if you've got a biological waste to, okay, we'll give it to fertiliser, or we might put it into an animal feed, which is great. It gets rid of the disposal problem, and those are great products. But actually, to create the high-value jobs and create the maximum product, it would be really good if we could put some of these products up the value chain. And so that's what we've been looking at in our strategy, is to how to get people further up the value chain. So this really enabled them to utilise the whole of the organism, which was really good. Next example we've got from you is from Miti, which is a smaller company who wanted to produce a sort of almost a beef jerky type of product, and they used underutilised dairy beef. And dairy beef is sort of code for those dairy cows that have reached their used-by date, and they were converted into this protein stack. And the challenge that Miti had was coordinating people along the value chain. And each of them had different requirements, which ended up putting quite a bit of constraints on how he developed his product and the processing. So the BPA was able to help him sort out those manufacturing problems, put in some trials to show it worked, and then he was away and off to market. So that was another great story. The one about ketogenics is another interesting part of where we're interacting in different ways with the companies. They take complex organic waste, and they've got a relatively big high temperature sledgehammer to convert that all to biogas and fertiliser. So they're able to take a huge diversity of wastes which wouldn't normally suit anaerobic digestion, and put that through into a complete range of products. One of the challenges they had was getting investment, and getting the investment required a whole new range of data and confidence to be able to be given to the market. So really we made them, or contributed to a project where they made themselves more investor ready. And this really helped their business grow and get along. And so I think that that's another way that we've been able to use science, solve these problems, generate the data, and then help them grow and develop their process along the way. Next one I'd like to talk about is biofunctional fruit extracts. And this was one that was centred on a local area, which is always good to see the waste processing done utilising skills in the local area. And here they had waste grape seeds, and they converted these into high-value bioactive supplements. And so this enabled them to take a waste stream, develop a manufacturing system where it was all sourced from local ingredients. It also contributed to the story that the wine industry was able to tell. And so it's another great story of a high-value product being taken right through to market. I'd like to make a few conclusions from some of these stories that we've had, and these are stories of successful companies who have developed a lot of things, but there's another story hidden behind all of these companies' successes. And that story is the collaboration between the science capability within New Zealand. And when the BPA was set up in 2012, there was a lot of competition between the research providers. Now the collaboration is some of the best I've seen within the science system. And we've got all the CRIs, universities, really working together, passing projects to each other, and really collaborating to get New Zealand's best team. And that's been a success story that's come out of the BPA that's changed the culture of the science collaboration, or it's been one of the accelerators of collaboration within the science system in New Zealand. So there's many advantages, I think, to the BPA. We're keen to, at this conference, to show you more of those examples, but also to facilitate some of this collaboration and interface with industry. So you'll see more examples as the day goes through, and I'd really like to encourage you to make the most of that networking time. Go up to someone who you haven't met and introduce yourself.